In this video, I will take a break away from hard Kenyan politics to look at something else outside politics. Okay? But it's an interesting event, yeah, unfortunately a tragedy, yeah, involving Kenya's national carrier, Kenya Airways. Now, Kenyan pilots have got quite a good reputation worldwide. Yeah, you'll always hear any part of the world, you'll hear people saying Kenyan pilots are good. Yeah, but unfortunately in this particular incident, Kenyan pilots did not look so good. Okay, but let's get on to it right away. I'm of course talking about the events of 5th May 2007 in Douala, Cameroon. The Kumekucha blog was of course up and running, in fact very active that year. Okay, and the first initial reports we received is that Kenya Airways flight had vanished from the face of the earth. Nobody had any idea where it was. Now ordinarily, that is virtually impossible. An airline just doesn't disappear. Yeah, an airline is tracked on radar, especially near an airport. Yeah, and well, right through its journey, you are able to track and know exactly where an airline is, where an aircraft is. To us ordinary citizens, this was something which was discomforting. Yeah, how does an aircraft disappear, vanish? Yeah. And of course, this was long before the Singapore incident. And by the way, I hear that aircraft has never been found. Anyway, experts, of course, knew the probability, exactly what would have happened. Yeah, but they kept mum. Yes, they knew that when an aircraft takes off and then disappears shortly after, what it means is that it has crashed. And chances are that whatever tracking instrument that was on the aircraft was destroyed, maybe in an impact which was very great. Yeah, experts already knew that, but the rest of us were in the dark. You can imagine the anxiety amongst the relatives and friends of those who are booked on that airline. Yeah, gosh, it must have been crazy. 2 days later, 2 days. Can you imagine that? First day, nothing, and of course the search effort was hampered by very bad weather. Okay. And even there had been one false alarm that the aircraft wreckage had been spotted a full 120 kilometers away from the airport, yeah, which deepened the mystery. Anyway, after 2 days, the wreckage was found in a swamp that was not too far from Douala International Airport. Now, initial reports, which we covered very well in our blog, was that at the time the aircraft took off, yeah, the weather was very, very bad. In fact, another aircraft opted to wait out the weather. But this particular KQ flight had already been delayed earlier, and I guess the pilots were anxious to get to JKIA, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. You know, as a pilot, you have passengers in aircraft who are looking for connection flights and so on, and so you don't want to inconvenience them, yeah? So this aircraft took off in very bad weather. And initially, it was speculated that probably the bad weather caused the crash. Now, I know many of us have not been able to witness a full tropical storm. I mean, that thing is crazy, yeah? And where Cameroon is and where Douala Airport is, they experience quite a bit of that, yeah, once in a while. So for those who have experienced this, it came straight to their minds that actually, yeah, there were a lot of factors that would have caused the aircraft to just fall off the sky. But of course, not aviation experts, yeah, who know a modern aircraft can fly literally through anything. Yes, where there's a factor, but if you're a pilot who knows what they're doing, yeah, an aircraft can fly literally through anything, a modern aircraft. And in any case, another aircraft had just left moments earlier, and it had flown safely through to its destination. But as the days dragged on, other theories came. Yeah, apparently the flight captain was a Captain Batia, 52 years old, veteran pilot with a lot of experience. Yeah, but he had a first officer who was only 23. Yeah, very young guy. In fact, for comparison's sake, the captain had been flying for as long as his first officer had been alive. Yeah. And so there was a theory that maybe the first officer took over control and he messed up and brought the aircraft down. And so rumors and speculation kept on flying all over the place. even as the dreary affair of recovering the bodies started. Yeah. Now the aircraft had gone nose down in a very swampy area. Okay. And recovery, of course, was very difficult. In fact, even access to the area was extremely difficult. Yeah. Major media houses in Kenya actually sent reporters there, and the photographs, images they brought back were very disheartening, yeah, and horrifying, if I may say that, even as they edited out most of the really, really bad details. Now, as you know, 2007 was quite a year politically for Kenya. So the country went through the storm. The country was very busy. The country was busy with the grand coalition government that followed in 2008. And this aircraft accident was totally forgotten. So that by the time the report by investigators was released, yeah, 3 years later in 2010, very few people paid attention to it, yeah. And in any case, the Kumekucha blog by that time, I was in retirement. Actually semi-retirement, and very shortly after that I was going to go into what I thought would be permanent retirement, away from politics forever, yeah, and try to get a life. Because as some of you know, reporting politics, it's not really a real job. It's a hazardous undertaking, yeah. Anyway, so in 2010 when the report came out, very few people paid attention, yeah, and it did not receive the attention it should have received from the Kumekucha blog. My apologies. But I guess better late than never. Okay, so today we are going to look at that report, and it is absolutely fascinating. And we'll do that after this short upcoming break. See you on the other end. Welcome back. Now, I appreciate there are quite a number of people taking this channel who do regular flying. Yeah, so maybe it's a good idea before we go into this report to examine a few very fascinating statistics. Okay, now out of all accidents, aircraft crashes, yeah, 70% always come down to pilot error. Okay, now that is amazing. Out of every 10 crashes, 7 will be due to pilot error, in that the pilot would have done something to save the situation. Yeah. However, to be fair to pilots, when something goes wrong up there, in many instances, somebody has only a few seconds, yeah, to make the right decisions or to make the wrong decisions and to bring the plane down. Now, these instances where something goes wrong are very, very few. I mean, a pilot could experience only one in his lifetime. Yeah. In this case, they survive it, yeah. They experience one, they get through it, and during their entire career until they retire, nothing happens again, yeah. You know, if something is frequent, then you become more alert and more prepared. But when something can come out of the blue, and sometimes you wouldn't even know there's a problem until it's too late, yeah, then you understand, yeah. And of course, you will not say pilots are incompetent. You will not start blaming pilots, yeah. This is just the way the aviation industry is. Now, the other important statistic emphasizes the fact that actually flying is extremely safe. Yeah, I know when you're 30,000 feet up there in the clouds, many of us, including myself, never feel safe and are never comfortable until the aircraft finally lands. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, however, the statistics tell us that actually if you're to get onto an aircraft every day, yeah, wait for this, it would take you 26,000 years to be involved in a fatal crash. Yeah, I did not say 26. I did not say 260. I said 26,000 years. What? Now, according to statistics and probability and so on, yeah, even after those 26,000 years and you're in this crash, your chances of survival would be pretty good. Yeah. So, bottom line, flying is extremely safe. And I don't think I need to emphasize this to Kenyans who use our roads in Kenya. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our roads are a death trap. Yeah. So compared to flying, flying is much, much safer. Yeah, than getting onto the road to go to Kisumu or Mombasa, you know. Anyway, the investigation into the accident of Flight 507 in Douala, Cameroon, was hit with a snag right at the beginning because they could not find the cockpit voice recorder. Now, the cockpit voice recorder, or black box as it's widely known, but actually it's not, it's actually orange, it's not black. But it's called black box, okay? Now, naturally, because the aircraft had gone nose down in a swamp, of course it was understandable how difficult it would be to trace it. In fact, some experts at the beginning said the possibilities were high that it would never be found. But finally, with the help of aviation experts from the United States and elsewhere, it was finally located on 15th June, yeah, a full 1 month, 10 days after the accident. And oh my, it told quite a story, yeah, a scary story actually, yeah, of exactly what had happened in the last moments of Flight 507, KQ 507. And this is what happened. When the flight took off, immediately it was airborne. It started banking to the right, yeah, tilting towards the right, okay? The pilot noticed this, okay, and corrected the situation, and the aircraft continued climbing. Now remember, it was a very dark night and there was a storm, so visibility was virtually zero. Yeah, it was just darkness out there. And so according to experts, what the pilot should have done immediately would have been to do what is standard, yeah, in safe flying, yeah, which is instrument scanning, because the instruments would have told him exactly what was happening with the plane, yeah, but he didn't do that. Now the CVR also confirmed something else, yeah, the cockpit voice recorder. It confirmed that the person on the controls was not, according to the rumors, the younger man, but was actually the very experienced Captain Bhatia. Now, unfortunately, the aircraft continued banking to the right, okay? And at one point, the pilot ordered his first officer to engage the autopilot. Now, the autopilot is where, of course, the aircraft is flown by computer, yeah? So the computer does all the necessary corrections, yeah? And it should have gotten the crew out of trouble. But there was no confirmation from the first officer that he actually engaged the autopilot, yeah? And Captain Bhatia did not go out of his way to confirm that actually the autopilot had been engaged. So what followed were 55 deadly seconds. Now within these 55 deadly seconds, the aircraft was not being flown by autopilot, and neither was it being flown by the pilots. It was literally flying itself. Captain Bhatia, of course, assumed that the autopilot was on, but it was not. Now within that period, the aircraft continued to bank, yeah, tilt, and the tilt moved from 11 degrees to 34 degrees. And at the end of these 55 seconds is when Captain Bhatia realized what was happening and uttered the words, "We are crashing." Now, this is where something called spatial disorientation kicked in. Okay, this is where you do not know you're in space and you do not know the position of your body. That is, you could be upside down and you think actually you're upright. Yeah, and that is where the instruments would have come in very handy. Yeah, to tell the pilots exactly what kind of situation they were in. Anyway, what kicked in now was panic. Yeah, because obviously both pilots realized that they were in serious trouble, and they had only a few seconds to correct the situation. Now, what followed was a few seconds where the pilot gave the aircraft instructions that were the direct opposite of what the first officer was giving. Yeah, so the pilot was doing his own things, and the first officer was doing his own things, all in a very panicky effort to save the situation. Understandably so. Captain Bhatia realized what was happening and he finally engaged the autopilot. By this time, the aircraft was at 2,290 feet and it had tilted a whole 115 degrees. By this time, of course, it was way too late. And from 2,290 feet in the air, on that dark night in Douala, Cameroon, the aircraft came nose down straight into the swamp, killing all those who were on board. Now, I have no respect for armchair analysts. You know, you cannot start saying, "Oh, you should have done this, they should not have panicked, etc., because you are not there and you're not in that situation. That's how life is." My deep and sincere condolences to all those who lost loved ones on this aircraft, and especially the Kenyans. Yeah, but that's how it was. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.